Early on in this movie, one of the characters says they feel like they're in Get Out. Bro, you wish. Let's talk about the new theatrical movie, Fear. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film in theaters now called Fear. And this is the one I was waiting for. This is the horror movie. You know, when Megan came out a few weeks ago, I had said all the time in January we get like a really bad horror movie to kick the year off. But then Megan was like really good for what it was. So this is the one. We'll get into the specifics of it here in a moment, but first I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding my video. Got a ton of great stuff on the channel for you to check out, movie and TV reviews alike, and please consider subscribing down below. Would love to have you aboard in that way. So let's talk about this movie. Yeah, you know, when I think January horror movie, I always go to like, okay, in my head I'm like, okay, well, I gave that movie an F, that movie was a D, that movie was an F. So it's usually a good dumping ground because it's usually pretty slow at the box office. Horror movies are cheap to produce, so the studio puts them out, you know, and then people, even if it only makes, you know, $10 million or whatever, it's probably on a $2 million budget, so it makes its money back opening weekend. But like I said, Megan turned out to be pretty good, so this, I think, is the one we were waiting for. So the basic plot is that a year into a worldwide pandemic, they never call it COVID, they never call it anything like that, but they just call it the pandemic or the sickness, you know, or the air is polluted, you know, whatever. So they never quite name check it. But anyway, a year into this pandemic, this group of friends gets together to have some celebratory fun, and it turns into a bit of a nightmare, and sort of the name Fear comes from them all sitting around earlier in the movie and naming what their biggest fears are, telegraphing to us, the audience, completely like, okay, well, this is exactly what's going to happen in the rest of this movie. But they're, you know, they have to face their biggest fears or whatever, sort of mentally. It's a mental kind of game, whatever. Anyway, that's all I'll really say about it. In terms of people in this movie, you may not know too many. The rapper T.I. is in it, and if you watch the franchise Power on Starz, you may recognize Joseph Sikora from that show, or I think he's on a couple of the different shows. But there's also King Bach, Ruby Modine, Terrence Jenkins, Annie Ionza. I don't really know any of these people, but I don't need to know any of them because this movie is just so inconsequential. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And the director has actually done a few things that I enjoyed. Deon Taylor is his name. He did this police drama called Black and Blue that was pretty good. But then he also does like those spoof movies with, is it Mike Epps that's in it? Meet the Blacks. It's like the spoof of The Purge and stuff. So he did that. But he also did this movie called The Hustle. He didn't direct it or anything, but he was one of the executive producers of that. And actually, I don't know if he's directed any of these or if he just co-produced them or whatever. But it's not the Adam Sandler Hustle. It's a way different movie from, you know, 15 years ago. So I don't know about that either. But anyway, he directs here, and there's really nothing remotely original about this movie. You know, facing your fears in a horror movie is one of the oldest kind of tricks in the book. The acting is not particularly engaging by anybody, and it barely matters because the characters are so irritating. There's a couple of okay ones, but, you know, one of them coughs, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my god, you've got the pandemic, you know, let's, you know, lock you in a room, and then he gets angry, and then it snowballs from there. But you know, we've seen things like that in The Thing, even, you know, to go back to a classic way before the COVID era. So nothing here is original. The script is not good. The direction from this dude is, you know, mediocre. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily horrible. I will say the one positive I have about the movie, I suppose, is that I could see everything that was happening, even when they went, you know, into the basement, let's say, where it should be pretty dark. I could actually see what was going on, and I do enjoy in movies when I can see what's happening. That's one of my big complaints lately, that movies like to shoot every scene that's at night or something in complete pitch black, and us as the audience can't see anything. So all right, I guess I'll give them that they knew how to light a room. But other than that, everything is just so rote, so routine. And the movie only clocks in at 85 minutes. It couldn't even reach the hour and a half mark because it didn't have anything to say, and certainly nothing original to say. So yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say else about this movie. It's very, very by the numbers, very, very routine. This is the F horror movie that I was expecting when January 1st started. We always get at least one, and this time it is Fear. I leave it with an F. My first F of 2023. Not that I've seen that many movies so far. I think this is number 6, maybe. But still, we already have one of our fails out of the way. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.